The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, and welcome to day 3 of our appointment-based trading challenge. This is Eric Roth, and I'm actually the MC today because Lee is going to be our main presenter. And I want to thank everyone for being here on time. And I always like to start off with a quick mic check. So let me know, guys, for those who are listening in, please let me know in the chat if you guys could hear me and if you guys could see Lee's slide. And then I'm going to go ahead and show my screen in just a second here. But first, I just want to get some feedback. And Lee, I think we're doing good on the mic check. Is that right, Lee?
Yep, I can hear you, so I'm sure everyone can hear you good.
Okay, perfect. All right, so then I'm going to go ahead and put on my camera as well. And I'll just give that a second. All right, so we are live, and I'm just so happy to be with you today, which is day 3 of our ABT, our Point-Based Trading Challenge. Again, I'm Eric Roth, and today I am the MC, the Master of Ceremonies. I'm here to make sure that everyone is super excited, that the energy is up, and I want to just start off by just doing a quick roll call in our GoToWebinar. Let me know if you, and Lee, you'll have to help me out a little bit because I actually signed up as a panelist. Let me know in the chat box right now if you were here or if you were able to attend any of the live trade rooms that we held today. So we had a few trade rooms today. I believe we had 4 trade rooms, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Lee?
Oh boy.
Lee?
After a while, it's so exhausting. I can't even. Let me have to look at the schedule.
No, it's okay. No, I have
Yeah,
it open here,
yeah,
guys.
CPI and oil and FOMC and Canada. Yeah, at least 4 different events. More, 5.
And so, Lee, are you seeing people typing in that they were here, that they were there to witness some of the trade rooms
Yeah,
as well?
definitely. Yeah, a few people absolutely came into the rooms. Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, that's really today, I want to start off with kind of just a little story, because today I feel is, it's a 5-day challenge. And I feel today is really one of the big points of the challenge where the transformation really starts to occur. And the reason why I say that is today it was a jam-packed Wednesday. I'm actually looking at the schedule here. Lee traded core CPI, then we have the Bank of Canada, we had crude oil inventories, the 10-year bond auction, and FOMC. So these are all the daily market moving events that we were watching in our trade room. Now I happened to be in the trade room this morning, and Lee and I, we're talking 24/7. So on the agenda today, you could see in the slide was the Pro Trade Room tour, right? And I said, what better way to get a tour than to actually experience the Pro Trade Room, even if you're not part of our VIP or part of our 21-day combo, which I'll talk about in a second. And so I'm so happy we invited all of our challengers to today for free, even if you didn't upgrade to anything. And the reason why I say today was so transformational is because I think back to when I really started to believe in this kind of trading. And 12 years ago, when I took my first live trade and actually made real live money trading the jobs report, that's when my eyes began to open. And so today, I'm so happy that many of you took advantage of the 1-day pass. And Lee, I only was there for the first trade room, but I know for core CPI, I mean, it was just the best example of what our JV software can do. And today you want to stick around because Lee's not only going to show you the magic that our JV software can do, in terms of our bread and butter trade. But Lee, I also want you to show people because how they could bracket a trade manually, right? So for whatever reason, I want people to also walk away knowing how they could do this stuff manually. But Lee, I was there. Folks in the room with me, if you were there, I mean, it was incredible. You made over $500 live. In fact, I would love if you could show that trade in just a second. But how did you end the day, Lee? Did you end up over $500?
We wound up over 800. We also had a great bond trade, and FOMC didn't move, so there was no trade really to have. And Canada is a no trade. It was more an educational trade room. So everything went to plan today. It was perfect.
That's really fantastic. And you know what? It's not always winning trades. just to be very transparent, I believe that we had a losing trade yesterday. But the thing is that, to show you our system, on every single trade, that transparency, that's the whole goal of this whole challenge, right? Is to show you how you can make more trading less, right? How you can actually make more in just 10 minutes a day. And yes, Lee and I were running these trade rooms and these sessions, but you'll see when Lee will show you those trades, I was there for a CPI. I know that trade lasted like maximum 5 seconds, right? So very exciting. So listen, before I pass it to Lee, I just want to say thank you so much again for being with us. There's a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure that this challenge experience is going well. And I just also want to check in with everyone right now in the chat and on Facebook as well. Let me know, guys, from 1 to 10, how is this challenge going right now? Are you guys enjoying the experience? So 10 is like you're having an incredible experience off the park. And then 1 is you're not really having the best time. So let me know, guys, honestly, how is everyone enjoying the challenge so far? And then Lee, you could let me know, the kind of the feedback that we're getting. But I know that, just by you showing up and seeing that we have a full room today means that, Lee, you're doing a great job and that there's a lot of excitement. So Lee,
Yep.
if you would be so kind, I want to show people, today, before you get into the main content of today of showing people the software, there are many folks in our challenge that, don't have their hands on the JB software. So I just want to let you know that right now, even as you're watching this replay, if you wanted to upgrade to VIP, you still can. And the link to do that is to go to www.yourfirstabt.com. So ABT standing for appointment-based trade. And really, guys, I hate, and Lee also, it's not about trying to sell anything. It's how can you make the most out of this challenge? And obviously, the way you can make the most of it is getting your hands on the JV software for free. So literally, when you go to yourfirstabt.com, and for free, you're going to get the software for 30 days, right? You're going to instantly get an email from us that will have all the instructions you need to download the software. And then also with the VIP, you get the lifetime recordings of this session right now. So even if you're like, well, I'm going to miss, some of the training pieces for today, you're not, because you're going to get the recording for life. So I urge you, if your eyes opened like my eyes opened 12 years ago today, if today was the first time you actually got to see the JV software in action, then right now, as we're chatting, do yourself a favor and upgrade to the VIP experience. All right, and then the next thing I want to tell you is the trade room experience, right? So if you enjoyed today's trade room, then it's a no-brainer to upgrade to get 21 days, the full month of April. All you have to do is go to www.21tlc.com and make sure for both links, which I'll post in the chat in a second, www. It's important that you put those in because these are just short links that are going to forward to a much bigger link. So definitely want to urge you for the VIP. Why? Because I want you to get your hands on the software. And then I also want to urge you to do the upgrade for $47 one-time payment to get the full month of April so that you could see us trade not just today, right? Because today looked great. We had some really great winning trades, but that's not the representation of every single day. And that's why I want you to see for 21 days. I'm giving you the opportunity to see, how we perform. And so far, I'm really pleased. And not only that, you're going to get our daily market movers, which I know Lee talked at length about in day 1 and day 2. The last thing I want to do, and listen, if you're live with me right now, I want to say that, this is a challenge and there are challenge prizes on the line, right? We're giving away over up to $1,000 potentially of prizes, right? It depends on whether you showed up live, right? Our first place winner, if you end up being selected, it's either going to be $300 or $500. Go to www.5daygrad. That's my immediate ask right now. If you go to www.5daygrad.com, and I'm going to observe really quickly to see everyone who is signing up for our graduation training, which is going to be this coming Monday, April 17th at 12 p.m. Eastern time, okay? And I'll kind of not spoil it, but you want to know something? Lee's going to show you as soon as Lee, seriously, because as soon as I kick it off to you, I want you to start off with a bang with showing people the 2 trades. And, part of that graduation training on Monday is teaching you how about the family money trades, right? And this is something that Lee will talk at length about. But these family money trades, these are the best performing trades, and these are the trades that we feel that if you really want to have the best shot at doing point-based trading, then you could just focus on these family money trades. So that's really it, Lee. I think I did my best at warming up everyone. The only other thing I would say is I'd love to see a little bit more engagement, guys, on Facebook. So while we're talking, there's actually a short link that I did for Facebook. Aaliyah, not to put you on the spot, do you know what it is?
I have it. I'll post it. Yep, I have it.
Yeah. So while we're live here, I'd love to see you guys like throughout the challenge. I know Lee will do an action item as well. I would love to see some likes and some posts on Facebook as well. And one last thing, guys. I mentioned my eyes opening 12 years ago. One of the trades that I didn't see that Lee traded, but someone was asking me earlier. Fred was asking me about, Eric, like what trades did you trade to have your big success? That's Rosie behind me. But anyways, the bond trades, one of my top 5 reports, hands down. So Lee, I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself and I'm gonna pass it to you. But the floor is yours, and I can't wait to see the 2 trades that you made today.
Okay, thanks, Eric. Appreciate it very much. So everybody definitely, um, it definitely makes sense to get the software without a question. It's free and you could trade along with us. Plus, you get it for 2 extra weeks. Plus, we include a great class on how to use it. That alone really is fantastic. Okay, let's get started. Okay, a couple of questions. What if you have a lifetime software license? Louis, you are a VIP because you have the software. So you've had a VIP experience since you got the software. Think of it that way. You stopped trading today because you made too much money. I can't give you more of a VIP than that, right? So Louis, it's all about how we think about what we have. But I think you're a VIP because you already have the software. And of course, if there's any bonuses that came with it, Louis, we would make sure you have it. Okay? So you don't have to worry. You are honestly a VIP. Kevin, I see that your hand is raised. Did you have a question or did you just raise your hand by accident? Because I'll answer your question. So look, we had a very nice day in the room today. It's always great to start, the day with a winning trade, 8 o'clock in the morning. You're wiping the sleep out of your eyes for us on the East Coast. CPI is a very volatile trade. The market is watching it so carefully. So let me show you what happened. And on top of that, the brokers are so nervous. They're raising margin. They're worried about trading certain reports. I think the brokers are just out of their minds sometimes. They're too worried about these trades. They're volatile, yes, but they're just normally tradable. I think the brokers should relax and stop raising the margins on these trades because they haven't been super risky at all. So we talked about last month's CPI trade. It wasn't a great trade last month. That was a good thing for today because I figured today's trade, we're not going to get 2 CPIs that are lousy. It's a family money trade. It's a very good report to trade. So if you notice, I'm trading bonds on the left and we were watching our oil setup on the right. So our bond setup was a small bracket, just 7 ticks, and I had targets of, I think if I remember correctly, my targets were 6 and 19 ticks. And the trade's over, folks. It was 1 second. It exploded through my targets. The trade was over. And then oil was a little slower. You had to wait for it to develop because our second setup, some people were trading micro oil because the brokers raised the margins so high on regular oil, you needed quite a bit of money to trade regular oil. So today, micros were the name of the game for oil. And then after about a minute, minute and a half, the oil trade was a very nice winner. So let me show you that bond breakout one more time because it was so quick. You have to really watch to see it. So once again, I just had a 7-tick bracket. Bonds were pretty quiet this morning when I got into the room. They were only down, they were pretty much flat from 6 p.m. the evening before. So everyone was waiting for the CPI news. It came out, and the news overall, inflation is still moderating. Originally, the markets took it as good news, and that's actually what happened. The ES went up, the NQ went up, bonds went up, which is unusual. Usually, bonds often move in the opposite direction, but you could see it was a fantastic move. So that was trade number one. And then after bonds, we had the Canada rate statement, which I was recommending we weren't going to take a live trade on that, just because the setup hasn't been reliable. So you know the deal. The one main thing that we're teaching is we're going to trade the reports, and you'll get sick of hearing me say it. I'm trading the reports that give me the best opportunity for profit. That's the key. If there's one report a week that only is that one report gives me a great opportunity for profit, then maybe that week I'll trade just one report. Now, that's pretty rare that that happens. But the point, I'm just trying to drive home the point. Trade the reports that offer the best opportunity for profit. So we came into the bond auction, right? And you don't have to be a genius to look at the DMM. Here's the DMM for that bond report. And if you understand our DMM, it has a journal down here below the yellow line. That journal is the last 6 bond reactions. 4 winners, 2 canceled. Not even a loser, okay? I mean, not you could still have a stop out, but in 6 months we haven't been stopped on this report. We had 2 reports that just didn't respond because they were late and we canceled them, and we had 4 winners with nice sized moves also. 16 ticks, 15 ticks. Those are nice moves because remember, we're trading the ZB bond future $31.25 a tick. So 3 ticks and you've made almost $100. It's very easy to make money on the bond futures. And of course, on the other side, you want to be careful and not, do foolish things. That's 31 bucks. So I was expecting a nice move on this report. We had a bracket of 3 and we had targets of 2 and 6 ticks. All right. I have found that on days that the Fed or weeks that the Fed is doing something, meetings, issuing reports, a lot of speaking, I find anecdotally that the bond auctions move better than they do on a normal week when everything is quiet. And that's exactly what we saw today. This is a report we trade live real money and watch what happened. Our orders go on the chart at 13,101 and 30 seconds. There's our orders. We know that the bond auctions affect the price of the ZB and the ZN futures. I'm looking at both, and you could trade ZF also. But ZB's on the left. You could see my orders on the screen. And boom, a big explosive move blows through all my targets, $281 instantly. That was less than a second. So we were up over $800 on the day. The 2 trades that we took live, that filled us. I had an FOMC trade, but we canceled it because it didn't respond the way we expected to. And that's no big deal. I mean, that's so normal. Sometimes you'll go into a trade, you'll expect a big move, you don't get a big move, and that might be a very strong reason why you would cancel that event. So those are some of the things that you want to learn. Why do you cancel a trade? Why would you leave a trade on? In other words, more than, say, even more than the cancellation rule. Sometimes news comes out late. Sometimes we know the news is late because we're listening and using our tools. We use our Squawk Box from Financial Juice Pro. We use the website from investing.com. So we often know if the news is late and we'll know not to cancel a trade. So, and that's one of the reasons when we're going over the software, like we're going to do now, I don't like to use the auto cancel that's in the software. But anyway, so first off, I start every class. Does anybody have an important question or a big problem that they need help with right this minute? Because if you do, type it in. Otherwise, I'm getting right back into the stuff we're going to cover today. And we have a lot to cover. We're going to do a little bit more in depth on the software. I'm going to show you market playback and replay, and we're going to go into the trade room, and I'll make sure that everybody knows how to download the app so for the trade room. And I don't see any questions, so let's just get cracking right now. Let me get out of my slides and we'll go right into software. So I know that a lot of people have downloaded the software. And even if you haven't, it's still very important to understand how the software works. So very simply, when an event is coming, right? We know and we have the time. We have our little clock on the screen, and we know that time is very important because remember, don't ever forget, we're always trading on a schedule. We're never showing up in the trade room randomly just to see what happens. That's not the way we do it. You know, you could trade discretionary with our software also, and it's fantastic for trading discretionary. But we are doing our main trading on that schedule. That's the key. So just to refresh everybody, and I know sometimes this gets a little boring, but we put a bracket on the screen. All right. It's just that simple. Bracket above and below the price. Okay. That's it. And then we wait for a move from the market. That's the current price. That's our bracket. If the price shoots up, it puts me in the market long on a breakout trade. If it shoots down, it puts me in the market short. Very simple. You can do that yourself. And that's what Eric wanted me to show everybody. So let's say you didn't have our software, but you know that at 3:25 today, there's going to be an event that you think is going to move the YM. Okay. So you're on the YM 0623, Ninja Trader, TOS, you could be using Thinkorswim, whatever platform you're using, as long as you have chart trading, all right, where you can put your orders on the chart, all right? So I can put a sell limit above the price. I can put
Order submitted.
a buy, right? Or a, forgive me, I can put a buy. What I want to do is put a, hang on. I want to put a buy above the price, all right? A
Order
buy
canceled.
stop, and I want to put a sell stop below the
Order
market.
submitted.
And now I've got brackets, all right?
Order
But
submitted.
my brackets are probably just randomly placed on the chart. So if you're in our trade room with us, you're going to know quite a few minutes before the trade how far away from the current price you might want to put your brackets. So you can manually move your brackets and get them placed. But it's a whole heck of a lot easier when the software does that automatically. But if you have chart trading, you can do that. And then the other thing you're going to have to do, and again, another reason why we love our software,
Order canceled.
you're going to have to deal with creating an ATM strategy, an automated trade management setup. But when you use our software, we don't have to do that. All you have to do is use our software, enter in all the items that we enter in, right? This is the software. All of these items act as an ATM. So let me just go over, let's just start from scratch for any beginner. Real quick, if you're a brand new beginner, you get the document from us that shows you where to get the files to download the software. Okay, so that's easy, no big deal. Anybody could figure out what to do. You get our files. This document tells you how to find our file and how to put it on your desktop. Okay, Once you have the file on the desktop, to install the software, you just go to Tools, you go to Import, NinjaScript add-on, okay? And then find the file that you downloaded, okay? Wherever it is, find that file, and then click on the file name, and it will install into NinjaTrader, all right? All of those instructions are on that little sheet that we have. It's not necessary to go over all of that over and over again in here. But once the software is installed, you then just right-click your chart, and now you can go to Strategies, and you can see our software is installed, JOBB version 10 or JOBB Trap Trade. Two separate strategies to use our software. Within the breakout strategy, JOBB version 10, double click it, and then you get all of the items in the software. Within those items are the most important elements are the trade type, breakout trade, range trades. We have range trades with zones. We have reversal trades. You've seen me do the reversal trade in the oil room. We have a trap squeeze, which is kind of like a reversal manual entry squeeze play. But the point is, when you subscribe to the software or do the free trial, you're going to get a class that explains all of these setups. So we're not going to leave you in the dark. In the challenge, we're just doing the breakout trade and the trap trade because it's just too much to cover in 5 days. We don't want to confuse you. So a breakout trade, we've been doing it in the trade room over and over. You create a bracket, you create a time of entry, and you put in a stop. And basically, that's all you need to do. So let's set up a quick random YM breakout trade for 3:30 p.m. All right. So it would be 15:30 on the nose. All right. I'm going to set up a YM breakout trade. I'm going to do a 15 tick bracket. I'm going to have two positions. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. I'm going to have a target of 15 ticks and a target of 30 ticks, and I'm going to have a stop of 30 ticks. So we're risking $150 per contract. And the point here is, you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to set the time. If you are going to do a trade at a specific time, 15:30, 3:30, that's how you would enter the time. If you want to practice and put the brackets so that they trigger immediately so you can practice, just set your time to 00 on the first two numbers. Now watch what happens. Nothing else has to be adjusted. Nothing. There's a few things you might want to check. Turn off your account warnings, okay? If you don't turn them off, you'll just get a warning if you're going to trade live. The software will tell you, are you sure you want to trade live real money? All right? Turn it off if you don't want to be annoyed all the time by that warning. As you get experience, you don't want to hear it. The input series equals the chart that we're trading, and then the account that we're trading is the sim account for today. We're not going to do this live. I'm not watching the markets. Not sure what's going on right now. And I'm going to make a label, bracket trade or test, whatever, bracket test, okay? And if I apply it and okay it, that trade's going to show up, that setup is going to show up in our NinjaTrader control panel as long as I'm looking at the right tab. A lot of times people send me an email, hey, I can't find my trade. Did you authorize us for the software? And yeah, we did. If you sent me your machine ID, don't forget, send us your NinjaTrader machine ID. It's under help on the control panel, and you'll see a column from NinjaTrader machine ID. Copy and paste it into a text, into an email, send it to us. But you have to be on the strategy tab to see the trade. All right. And you can actually see what account it's trading, whether the trade has won or lost money, the data series, the time of the chart, we use a 1-minute chart, the instrument, a lot of information just on this little tiny control panel. And then when you want to practice and turn the trade on, just click the enabled button and bingo, there's our bracket. We just placed a
Order
trade.
submitted.
It's waiting for our bracket to be pierced. And if it gets pierced, we'll get filled either long to the upside or short to the downside. Now, you can also move your orders around. If you think you want to go long, that this market's heading up, I move my order into the long area, and now the
Order
price is
submitted.
agreeing with me. It's moving towards my first target. It hits my first target. Now I might want to manually
Order
protect
filled.
my profit, right? All of these things are what we call ATM, automated trade management. But you notice I had to do almost all of it manually. What the software does without intervention is it will automatically put the brackets on the chart. It will automatically put your stop on the chart and your targets. But unless you make other choices, you will then have to do everything else by yourself. Okay? And that's neither good nor bad. It's just the way it is. If you want more automation, look at that. We made 225 bucks. I should have traded it
Order
live.
filled.
If you want real automation, more automation, there's many things the software can do automatically. First off, one very important thing that people don't even realize, our software has a break even button. If you get filled,
Order
right?
submitted.
Let's get filled again. And if your fill is profitable, okay, if your trade starts to become profitable,
Order submitted.
now hopefully it'll go up, not down. When you're in a profit, there's a button up here called the break even button. When we're in profit, and you have to be in profit, if you press that button, the stop will move to break even plus a tick. All right? Break even plus a tick. Now, there's something clever that no one knows, and I never talk about it.
Order
So I'm going to
filled.
teach everybody something new. Let me see if it works. All right? This is something I didn't even realize until I talked to the programmer. I never knew that our break even button
Order submitted.
was programmable until he told me. So I'm going to need a movement in a profitable direction. Let's see if we can get it. All right. So if we get a profit and
Order
it's not
submitted.
working, so give me a second. It'll be worth it. Trust me. So let's do it. The market wants to drop. So we'll let the
Order
market drop.
filled.
We'll go in short.
Order
All right. Now,
submitted.
if we get profitable, watch what's going to happen here.
Order submitted.
Now, keep in mind, why can't you press a break even button if you're not profitable? Why can't you press it if you're not profitable? Because it will put your stop above the current price. It can't be above the current price. It would be an error. It'll generate an error. So look, I'm not getting the movement that I want. I don't want to waste time, but there's a trick. It's a little trick. If you set the software, and I'm just going to close it. If you click on strategies and down
Order
at the
filled.
bottom, move the stop to break even plus X ticks, that's actually a programmable feature to the break even button. It'll move your stop to break even plus 5 ticks instead of just break even. Or the default on the break even button is actually break even plus 1 tick. So that's a new feature. I don't think anybody in this room knows that it exists. All right. So I know that I've taught you something new that you never knew. Just going through features of the software, many of the features work on all the setups. Okay. If you have the software and you just don't know what one of these items mean, hover your mouse over the item. It will describe it, and it will also describe the format that the item needs to be entered. So a couple of things that people like to use. If you have a trade, we can support 3 positions. Our DMMs are set up for 2 position trades, but professional traders bugged us. We want to trade 3 positions at least. So we added the 3rd position so you can have 3 positions, 3 targets, It just makes for a little bit more sophisticated setups. But here's what's interesting. Let's say you hit your first target and you want to move your stop to break even. There's a feature called target one stop move. If target one is hit, move my stop to break even plus 15 ticks, and it would move it to break even plus 15. You could move it to break even minus 4 ticks, but that helps you to use stop management. Then there's a second feature, exactly the same, but it will do it when target 2 gets hit. It's called target 2 stop move. Think of it. You're in a report that you notice a lot of times it does some reversing, right? So you want to protect your profit, but not after the first target gets hit. You want to wait and you want your profit protected after the second target gets hit. So we have something called target 2 stop move. If target 2 gets hit, you can move your stop, and you can even type in BE for break even plus 20 ticks, because maybe you have a 50 tick second target, right? If that target gets hit, you could protect a lot of it by moving your stop to break even plus 20. So that is also another nice way to protect profit. A lot of people don't have a lot of money in their trading account. There is a methodology that we have that lets you trade one contract and automatically move your stop. It's hard to automatically move a stop when you trade one contract because, number one, you never know for sure what the right target is, right? So let's say you're trading an oil report and you have a 30 tick target. You don't know if that target's going to get hit. You don't know if it's too big or too small. But one thing you know, so you can't use target one stop move because you only have one position. If it hits target one, you're out of the trade. So you're out of luck. You can't use that feature. But we thought it would be nice if people could still move their stop, not counting trailing stops, because not everybody likes to trail. So just to back up for 1 second, we do have a trailing stop feature. Trailing stop mode, just turn it on, okay, and change the trailing stop method to fixed tick, and then the number of trailing ticks is 1. That's what we call normal trailing. For each tick of profitable movement, your stop will move 1 tick in the direction of your trade. Or if the number of trailing ticks is 2, it'll move 2 ticks in the direction of your trade. You can also turn on your trailing stop when target 1 gets hit, not to start trailing until then, or when target 2 gets hit. Okay? But the other thing I was talking about, what if you don't feel like trailing? Not everybody likes to trail all the time. You might want to move, but you might only want to trade one contract, but you want a way of automatically protecting your profit because maybe you know that this report really moves the markets fast and you're not going to have time to physically move your stop with your hand, okay? With, manually doing it. So you could use this feature if the market is, let's say you have a 50 tick target and you're trading just one position, right? You have a 50 tick target and you're trading just one position. So you got to make these guys zeros. And I don't even need to do it. Just assume that that's what we're doing. And what you want to do is if the market moves, think about this, if the market moves 40 ticks, it didn't get to your target. And what if the market then does a complete reversal and stops you out? You would have a losing trade. And that would really stink because it almost got to a big target. Everything you did was right, except you had bad luck. The market didn't go far enough to give you your profit. Well, this is a clever little feature. If the market moves 40 ticks, automatically move my stop to break even plus or minus X ticks. So I could move my stop to break even plus 30 if the market totally changes direction and goes against me, the stop will move to plus 30. I protected 30 ticks of profit. Bingo. With one contract, I have a way to emulate an automatic stop move. I'm not emulating, I'm actually doing an automatic stop move. So that feature, market moves X ticks, market stop, move the stop how many ticks. That's a feature great for trading. One contract helps you to protect profit in a trade, especially a trade that you know is going to be possibly choppy and it might even reverse on you. Okay, so that's a feature that's very cool in the software. The cancel rule. Okay, it's one of the features, we put it in because people need it. A lot of people like to automatically cancel, but there's a feature in the cancel rule not to forget. So every DMM, almost every DMM, has a cancellation rule. A cancellation rule, usually stems from the fact that we know if a report doesn't respond within a certain period of time, our testing has shown it makes more sense to cancel than to wait for the trade to fill. It's just behavior that we've studied. So, for instance, this morning CPI has a 10-second cancel. Just don't forget that if you're activating the trade 1 second before the time of the event, to add that time to the cancel, or your trade will be canceled too early. So in this case, we're activating the trade 1 second before, add 1 second to the cancel so it cancels at the right time. We have some trades like natural gas, you'd have to add 4 seconds. All right, so just remember that's a feature of the auto cancel. Then I just want to make sure I cover some of the main things that you would use during the breakout. There is a feature in the software that if you wanted to, so a lot of people get distracted by our line, right? You turn on a trade and see this green line and it happens right on the candle.
Order
That
submitted.
bugs a lot of people. Most folks don't even know you can turn that off. So if you go to the
Order
strategies,
canceled.
highlight the strategy, scroll down, I just have to find it, show vertical line on entry, uncheck it, apply it, and now when you activate your trade, no line, no annoying line, and bingo,
Order submitted.
you could turn that feature off. That's a clever little feature. It's not going to help you make money, but it
Order
might help you to
canceled.
concentrate better. So people like that. Also, a couple other things that are very useful. We have a direction command. If you knew in advance that you just wanted to trade in one direction on a breakout trade and you didn't want to worry about dealing with it manually, you could just set up a trade so it will only trigger long or only trigger short. Obviously, both is standard. There's another feature, auto disable after trade. Now that is a default of being off. Okay, off is the default. That's the way I always leave it because when it's off, I can always, when a trade ends, I can always trigger it again. Okay,
Order
I can
submitted.
always trigger it again. There
Order
are certain
canceled.
trades that you want to be able to trigger again immediately. And if the auto disable is not off, it will screw up your ability to trade again and again in a row very quickly. And sometimes maybe you made a mistake and your timing was off. And you realize your timing was off and you lost a small amount of money on a trade and you don't have time to put the whole trade back on again. With the auto disable off, you can re-trigger the trade. Okay, so that's a feature a lot of people don't know that it
Order
exists.
submitted.
Couple other,
Order
I'm just trying to
canceled.
find a couple of things that are sort of in the quieter part of the software. Don't don't recommend that you mess around with the error handling. It's default, and just leave it the way it is, please. We probably should disable that so no one can touch it. Um, Pretty much there is those in terms of the breakout trade. Almost everything else is default. Okay, you don't have to change it. We've talked about the label. When you adjust the label and put something in there, it's very important so that you could see what you type. So that if you have multiple setups, today we had 2 trades at once that we were trading live during the FOMC. I want to be able to see that one was the NQ, one was testing. So if I want to cancel one or enable one instantly, I don't want to have to think about it while the market might be moving because we're in the middle of a news trade. Okay? Understood? So the label, even though it seems like a silly little thing, it's really important. It's really important. Another thing that drives you crazy, and I've showed everybody how to do this in the trade room. So look, we were just testing a whole bunch of trades, and you want your orders off the screen. A couple of ways you can get rid of them. Right click the chart, click on data series, right? Scroll down, text and marker, turn it off. Do not plot. Apply it, okay it. No more orders, okay? I like to leave that on because I want to see my orders, right? Market data series, right? Not strategies. I want to see my orders. There's another way to do it. It's a little bit more involved. But so if you're looking at text and markers, it shows you the little arrow where you got into the trade, and it shows you the text. If you're in SIM, you can remove all that by resetting your SIM account. Just go to Account, click on your SIM account to highlight it, right click it, Edit Account, reset the account, make sure Clear History is checked, which is default. Yes, okay it, and now we're back to zero, right? Back to zero on our SIM account. All orders are removed. It's just handy to use, handy to know how to do. Does anybody want to ask me any questions about the breakout setup? The breakout setup overall is easy to do, okay? And one more time to go through the breakout setup. Breakout trade is the trade type. Our time is always in military time. So if you want to set up a breakout trade for 350, it's going to be Eastern time, 1550. No big deal there. The bracket, the number of positions, which is directly related to your contracts, your targets, your target stop moves, like we just explained. You're moving your stop with one contract. We covered almost everything that you might need to do in a breakout trade. Now, did you know that we have an unattended mode in our software that should be used with only the greatest of caution? It's great if you know that you're not going to be at your computer tomorrow, but you'll have a way to check it. I don't recommend unattended trading if you're not going to be there, but we do give you that ability because people have asked for it. So there's something called unattended mode. It wouldn't be necessary to use it for a trade that's taking place today. But if you have a trade that's taking place 24 hours later than we are now, you could set the date. So for instance, you could say, let's trade tomorrow, right? April 13th. Let's give a duration for how long you're going to stay in the trade. So maybe you'll stay in the trade. I'm not going to stay in the trade 4 hours. That would not be what we normally do. Maybe 3 minutes, which would probably be a lot. Okay. You could stay in the trade 3 minutes. And for lunatics that do trade and aren't going to be anywhere near their computer, we put in a safeguard. If I was to lose 3% of my account, shut down the trade, okay? If something crazy would happen, shut down the trade, all right? So if you lost 10% of your account, you could shut it down. We don't recommend trading unattended unless you could check or have somebody check on what you're doing. But people asked us for this feature, we put it in. So then all you have to do is set up your trade normally, and it won't take place until that date, okay? And it will last that long. All right. Unattended mode. I promised I was going to talk about magnet trade soon. We have a whole really cool feature called the magnet trade to be covered in a future webinar soon. I promise. I promise. And that's the breakout trade. Now let's get over to the trap trade. Everybody, a lot of people say, oh, I don't know how to do the trap trade. It's so easy. Just click on. Don't forget, before we get there, the trap trade is a separate strategy. So when you get your software tip sheet, right? 2 files. Don't forget, 2 files. Trap trade and breakout trade. 2 files. Install them both exactly the same way. Import them. Do not try to open or extract NinjaTrader zip files. You never try to extract NinjaTrader zip files. They get imported. Tools, import NinjaScript add-on. That's how you add files, script files into NinjaTrader zip files that are, they're NinjaTrader script. So the trap trade, you've installed it, right? You put it on your desktop. You did your import NinjaScript add-on. I'll tell you one piece of advice. If ever you're installing a piece of software, a strategy, or an indicator, and it asks you a question, sometimes a question will come up. You have a newer file on your computer. Do you want me to overwrite it or keep the file? Anytime it tells you have a newer file on your computer, keep the newer file. So you can always say no, and it won't it won't overwrite the newer file. It'll keep it. So just keep that in mind. If you ever get that message, always keep your newer file. So your trap trade is installed. Right click the software, click on strategies. Bing, bang, boom. You're going to click on trap trade twice. Shows up under configured. All right, so we know that at 5 minutes to 4, today we're going to have a trap trade on the YM. Very few items to even enter. Price at the time is default. Average price default. You need to know how many positions are you going to trade, how many contracts. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. The spike is a default, the wait for the spike. The stop loss is a default. It should always be last fill, no average prices. The stop loss gets entered. Maybe we have a 20-tick stop loss. You can cancel. Remember, our rule, same rule. We often activate a trap trade with this command, activation time, prep seconds. It's a fancy way of saying to the software, hey, put my orders on the chart X amount of seconds before the news gets released. So we put our orders on the chart 5 seconds before the news gets released. If you're using the auto cancel, just add those 5 seconds. If the cancellation is 10 seconds, it would be 15. Okay? Now, for some reason, my boss, when he invented the trap trade, instead of calling the orders brackets, he decided to call them tiers. Tier 1 is bracket 1. Tier 2 is bracket 2. It's exactly the same as the way a bracket works. But the difference is the whole concept in a trap trade is that we want, when the trade goes up, we're going to sell instead of buying. And when the trade goes down, we're going to buy instead of selling. And when the price changes direction, which is what we expect in a trap trade, that's how we make our profit. So the time of the event is when the software will actually trigger. And I'll take that with a grain of salt. It would actually trigger the time of the event in relation to the activation time. So if the activation time, if the time of the event is 4 o'clock, we would put 1600 hours in Eastern time. And then our activation prep seconds is 5 seconds. So 5 seconds before that time, 1600 hours, our orders show up on the chart. Same deal with account warnings, turn them off. Always, you check your input series. That should be the chart that you're trading. So it's the instrument you're trading. whether or not you want to be live or on sim, and then whether or not you use the label command. I always use the label because it keeps you safer, because if you've got multiple things going on, you'll see it. So what happens in a trap trade? So we're going to do what we do to do a test, and we're going to set our time to 0. Okay? Our time is set to 0, and our activation time is 1 second. Just trust me. When you enable it, always double check that your account is in sim before you enable a trade when you're testing. So we get our orders, make sure you're spread far enough apart so you can manage the trade. If everything's scrunched up, you can't do
Order
anything.
submitted.
It's bad, right? Now remember I said what would happen if the F is chosen? See, you'll still see it. You'll still see it, and it'll be okay, all right? If this F is when you've adjusted and changed
Order
the,
canceled.
the scaling on your chart. When you've adjusted and changed the scaling on your chart, you get that F. That F
Order
allows you to go
submitted.
back to default.
Order canceled.
I've told you a million times, I like my stuff centered, so I center my charts, then I enable, and then I spread them apart so that I could see what's going on. It's a little bit more work, but it lets me manage the trade
Order
in a way that I
submitted.
want. So in this particular trade, the price went
Order canceled.
up initially. It filled my first tier, my first bracket short. I'm now waiting to see if my second bracket gets filled or if we get our expected reversal. So let's look at, now look, you don't have to panic in a trap trade. If it starts working against you, just wait, patiently wait for the second tier to get filled. That's just what happened now. My second tier got filled. You might consider
Order filled.
moving up your orders because they're probably a little too far away, because the opposite tiers become your targets, and they're often too far away because of the nature of the way the trade sets up. So now look, we're starting to get our profit as the YM starts to move down. You can always use the buttons that we always use in our breakout trades. One important thing on the trap trade, make sure your chart is spread enough horizontally, right? So you see all the buttons. The combine button is the final button. So now look what's happened. It's going profitable. If you want to be real aggressive, you could move your stop. I don't want to get stopped out. You could move your stop to break even. Right now I can't because we're negative, okay? But I could also, there's a button called combine. Maybe I don't like the way this trade's working out. I don't think it's going to hit my targets down at the bottom. I can combine them to make it easier to move them close to the target, to the stop, the entry, sorry, close to the entry. So if we get a change in direction on an event that I don't think is really going to give me much profit in that direction, I can combine the orders, get them moved together so I can move them more easily. All right. This right now is a trap trade that's not working, but it's not the end of the world either. It was a YM trade. It's not working. Maybe it will. We don't even have to rush. This was just a random trap trade to show you how the trade works. Let me go over all the buttons. All right. There's a close button. If you want to just close a trade, you can. All right. It'll close the trade with the profit or loss where you are at that moment. All right. We have
Order
all
filled.
of the buttons that we have on the trap trade. The usual break even button.
Order
If your
submitted.
trade gets filled and you're in profit and your other tier
Order
is
canceled.
not in the way, right? Right now, I've only been filled on one tier. So my first thought is I'm either going to wait for my second tier to get filled, or I'm going to cancel it and get it off the chart, cancel button, so that I can manually move my stop to break even or close to it. Okay, now the market's very
Order
volatile, you
canceled.
can see. It's getting ready to close. It's closing right now. I'm not getting the opportunity to show you that the break even works when we're in profit, but everybody knows how that works. When you're in profit, you can press the break even button and it will move the stop to break even. We have the break even button, the close button closes the trade. Right now, the adjust button, here's the break even, bingo, all right? Right now, we don't use the adjust button. Years ago, when we were using
Order
the trap
canceled.
trade setup, we would put our orders on the chart 40, 45 seconds before an event. We don't do it that way currently. When we did do it, though, we used the adjust button to help us to try to get a slightly better fill. It's not necessary to use it now, okay? Just because we're putting our orders on the chart way before we'd have any time to move them around or do any analysis like that. Those are all the buttons that are involved in the trap trade. The combine button combines multiple orders into the
Order
one order
submitted.
that's closest to the current price. You've got the cancel button that cancels the second order or second tier. If you feel the trap trade has started to move in your direction of profit, you would cancel that outer tier so you can move your stop without that order being in the way. You have the adjust button, which we're really not using, so you don't have to really pay attention to it. The close button is the same as the close button on the control, the chart trader, and break even button. Those are all the buttons on the trap trade. Not that complicated. People don't like the trap trade because they get nervous waiting for the reversal. But remember, we're studying the results of an event. If we're studying the results of an event, we probably know, if we've chosen the trap trade, that it has a
Order
really
canceled.
good chance to reverse. So don't panic. As long as a trap trade doesn't just shoot up through your stop, you've got every chance in the world for that trade to work out. So try to be patient. Don't panic, right? I'm going to reset my SIM account so that we can still keep talking. Don't panic. The trap trade is easy to use. Just practice it like any other trade, and don't be afraid to be in a trap trade that isn't working immediately. Obviously, we always love the trades that work fast instantly. They all don't do that, but often you don't have to panic. We've chosen the trap more often than not because we really believe it is going to reverse. Okay? All right, we're covering a lot today. Covering a lot. I want to cover the trade room. All right. I'm going to upload a very short document into GoToWebinar, and it allows me to give you a handout. Let me see if the file will go, if it will allow me. It will. So I've put a handout file into the NinjaTrader webinar. Does everybody see that file so that you can get that file? Okay, and you can read it. It's very short. And all it does is it just explains how to download the mobile app. Our software, TradeRoom software, has a mobile app, okay? And you can download it. That's all it is. And it gives instructions on how to log in to the TradeRoom using the mobile app. And it tells you, does everybody see the document? Does everybody see the document? I'll tell you what I'll do also. It's very short, so I'll just show it in the video. So if for some reason someone can't see it, you'll be able to watch the video and still follow the instructions. Let me just find the file. Nobody's answering me, so I'm worried. Can you all hear me? Can everybody hear me okay? Let me know you can hear me. I haven't bugged anybody to let me know that you're paying attention. Is everybody paying attention? Do you have the document? Let me know. Give me a yes or a no. I have the documents. I know you're out there. I know that everyone hasn't been kidnapped by another trading guru, right? Uh, maybe Right Line Trading has kidnapped everyone. All right, give me 1 second. Um, just so everybody has the mobile app info, it's no big deal for me to show it. And the mobile app, from what I understand, there's a new version coming of the mobile app, and I'll certainly let everybody know as soon as it's available. For now, for us, for us right now, you're using version 2. Do not, do not, um, do not download version 3 of the mobile app. Okay. And the way that you find the app is you go to just type into your, I'll do it with you. I just want to get to the thing on my phone. I'm on an Android because I just don't use Apple right now, but I know most people probably, a lot of people are using Apple, but just type in Pro Trade Room into the area where you search for an app. Okay. And Pro Trade Room, you type that into your app finder. Give me 1 second, folks. And I forget the name of the company. Okay, it's Pro Trading Room. Type in Pro Trading Room. Okay. And you'll see a download that has no number with it. And the name of the company associated with it is Bellsoft Consulting. Bellesoft. Okay. Bellesoft Consulting. Don't do version 3. Download version 2. And then just follow these instructions. You're going to have to log into the regular trade room just to get a couple of pieces of information that you type into the app on your phone. And then you only have to do it once, and you'll be able to listen to us in the trade room on your phone if you're not around. You just want to see what's going on with a trade, or you can't get to a computer and you want to trade. You can't get to your trading computer and you want to hear what's going on. So let me show everybody how to get to our trade room. All right. A lot of people get really confused and can't find the trade room, can't figure out how to get in. So just go to a browser, whatever browser you like best. And let me show you what to type. And you're just going to type the old www.10mtpro.com. Okay, and that's it. And then it will bring you to this screen. And here's what's important. What's nice to know is it brings you to the lobby. You can always get our schedule, and the lobby is always the final word on the schedule. It supersedes any email you might get. It supersedes the weekly market schedule, and it supersedes any DMMs you may have. Now, a DMM has nothing to do with the trade room, except it might be traded in the trade room. But if you get a DMM, that's the trade setup, okay? But for instance, this evening, we do not have the Australia jobs report after the FOMC. Excuse me. But there still is a DMM for that Australia report. And for all you lucky people that are in here right now, I don't recommend taking that Australia trade tonight. It's a pretty mediocre setup at the moment. And we're just waiting for Australia to return to the mean, if you follow me, which it will. Okay. It just is not performing well. It's been very inconsistent, and I would probably pass on the trade or trade it very light, okay, very lightly. And I would probably lean towards the breakout rather than the trap trade these days. I might go for a small target breakout. Personally, I'm not going to trade it, okay, because I don't think it's behaving well enough. So you log into the trade, you get to 10MT Pro, right? 10mtpro.com brings you to the trade room lobby. Then type in a name, okay? Type in the email that you signed up for our service with, okay? Whatever email you signed up to our service with, and then enter in the password that we sent you in an email. Enter the room. Bingo, you're in the trade room, okay? Now remember how I'm saying all the time up at the top, you've got the room drive and you can download programs from the room drive. Bingo. Click on room drive. You've got Karen's time sync in there. Actions. You can download it, delete it, download it on the left. A pre-trade checklist, which is very handy. Information on where does a template file get put if I send you a template file, okay? The margin document that we use. Now, be careful with the margin document. I should really remove that because there's been some updates to pages on NinjaTrader's website. So some of the links are changed and they don't work. But I left the document up there because the main margin page can be found, and I felt that that was important. I didn't have time yet to update the links, all the links. There's Dimension 4, which is another time sync program. So it's 2 time sync programs, and then Topmost Clock. Our little clock is up there. There's our friend Topmost Clock. You can download that program and install it as well. Close it. Okay, so that's the room drive. You can control your audio volume, obviously. I believe you all can speak also, and you can send files to us as well. You can upload a file. Essentially, most of us were using the trade room to talk to each other, to go over the trade setups, to watch the streaming. And let's say you have a problem in the room, and a lot of times people will say, hey, Lee, your charts are frozen. But nobody else is having a problem with their charts being frozen. So just leave the trade room and come back in. You've got no sound, leave the trade room and come back in. Obviously, of course, tell me, okay, because maybe the problem is on my end. All right. So definitely, always reboot. If for some reason you can't log into the trade room, something's gone wrong and you just can't log in, try a different browser. That often helps quite a bit because sometimes a browser has data stored in its cache and it's bringing you to a place where it shouldn't. It just sometimes happens. So definitely try a different browser if you can't get in. There's not a whole heck of a lot that we're currently doing in the trade room yet, but the room drive is very useful. Watching us stream and talking to each other, obviously, are the big things that we got going on in the trade room. Any questions up to what we've covered now? I want to cover one more major topic. Can everybody can you tolerate one more major topic? Give me a yes or a no. I'd like to do one more major topic. Major means 20 minutes and then we'll be done. Can you do it? Give me a yes or a no if you can do it. Okay, looks like most folks are a yes. So what's very, 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 very important to us? Obviously, market replay, market playback. Okay, why is it important? It's so important because we are always looking at events and we need to know what happened in a previous event. So let's take today's trade, the CPI report, all right? And let's go through all the steps of what you would do to market replay the CPI report. So if I get kidnapped by aliens from outer space, next month you can do your own CPI testing, All right. So going over using all the info we've used so far in all our classes, the first thing you're going to do is go to the calendar, right? You're going to go to the calendar, and I would go to Forex Factory, forexfactory.com, click on calendar. Today was our CPI report, right? And we want to know when the previous CPI report was. Or even better, you missed today's CPI report and you want to replay it, okay? Because this is the same procedure as finding a previous report and replaying it. So let me just show you how to find the previous one so everyone knows how to do it. So CPI was Wednesday this morning at 8:30. To find a previous date, just click on the calendar, the file folder, click on the file folder, and Forex Factory automatically gives you previous dates. A similar thing happens on investing.com. Okay, almost the exact same thing happens with investing.com. You hover over the word news, click on economic calendar, scroll down, also choose this week. Okay. If it's CPI that you want to deal with, scroll to today's CPI, click on the trade, okay? And it will bring up, if you scroll down a little bit, once it loads, scroll down a little bit, and you get your dates of previous CPI reports. So if you want to find out what happened on March 14th, last month's CPI report, that's what I'm going to show you. But we're going to make believe you missed today's report because it really makes no difference. It works the same way. I'll tell you what, let's use March 14th. So March 14th, we want to see what happened on the CPI report. So we went to the calendar, we found out what the date was. That's number one, March 14th. We know it's 8:30 in the morning, so we also need to know what instrument do we want to test, and we have to download that data. So, you grab today's DMM because that helps to give you an idea of what we're trading. So you grab your DMM, and we know we're trading bonds, ZN 623, and we also have a setup for oil. All right. So we need to download the data. So we're going to go to Tools, Historical Data. When I click Historical Data, it opens this window, this dialog. I'm going to click down at the bottom left, Get Market Replay Data. And then I'm going to put the date of the replay that I want the data. NinjaTrader gives you 3 months of data. There is a company that for about $49 a year, very inexpensive, will let you download years and years of data. So if you become a serious tester, just shoot me an email and we'll tell you where to go get the data to subscribe. But for most people, being able to download 3 months of data is a great start. And that's a free, great way to start learning how to do playback, is what NinjaTrader calls it. Okay? But let's be honest, it's a replay. So we said it was March 14th. So just change that date to March 14th. And then we need to download data for 2 contracts. We traded the bonds, right? We got the data from the DMM. What are we going to trade? Okay, so we want to download the bonds. And as long as they were the same contract, 613, which they were, that's what we're going to download. So click ZN 623 so it shows up in the instrument and click on download. Okay, and just wait till it's done. It's done. And also we had an oil setup. Now last month we might have been trading oil CL423. Most probably that's what you can assume that it was. So in this case we'll go with oil CL423. Now you notice it's not in the list. It's not in the list. There's a master list if you go down to futures. and then it opens up a master list of all the instruments you've installed into your NinjaTrader. Many of you probably don't have a lot of instruments because you're not doing a lot of testing. Nothing to be embarrassed about. It's normal. How do you add an instrument so you could download the data? Now remember, this will be recorded. So if I go a little fast, don't worry about it. You can watch the video. Don't sweat it if you lose something. I still will answer questions. Don't panic is all I'm saying. So to add an instrument that is not in your Ninja, go to Tools, Instrument Lists, go to Futures so it gets installed into that Futures folder, and then go to Add, and we're going to add CL, and we said we're going to need the previous month, so 05-23. Click Enter. It gives me an error. The instrument is already there because I've already added it. Don't worry. If yours is not there, it'll just do nothing and it'll say, okay. So that's how I added that instrument. If I had to add bonds because they weren't there, you would do it the exact same way. Into the Futures folder, add ZN 0623. Okay? No crazy lines. So once you've added the instrument, Ninja has a nice little feature. It remembers the last instrument you used. So when you go to find that instrument now on the date we want to download it, March 14th, oil happens to be near the top. So we wanted to download that CL523. We download it. When it stops, it's done. So we've now downloaded the data. We're almost ready to do our replay. Now with replay, don't confuse yourself and don't put your clock on the screen. Keep your clock off the screen, okay? Don't put it on the screen. What we're going to do is disconnect our live connection and we're going to connect our playback connection. Don't try to download data when you're connected to playback. NinjaTrader won't allow you to do that. You have to be disconnected from playback. It's just the way it is. So when you go to connect, when you go to connect your market replay connection, you click continue. We've already downloaded the data, so we don't need to download it again. Just click continue. You get the noise that you're connected. We're now connected to the replay server, and now we need to set up our trade so we can replay it, all right? So a couple of things that you have to deal with. First thing you should do is put your chart on the instrument that you know you're going to replay. So we said we're trading March 14th. Bonds most probably should still be the six bond. I'm sure it is actually. That's going to be 6. You can always double check by looking at the contract specifications. If ever a chart looks so weird that it looks like it can't be traded, most probably you've downloaded the wrong contract. Just go back and download another closer contract in time. But if we're trading on March 14th, I think we're going to be fine with ZN 0623. So I put my chart on 6N23, not worried about what the chart looks like at all right now. I just want to get set up for replay. Now I've got these two boxes and I want to put the date 3/14/2023 in both those boxes. So you just update it, right? 3/14/2023. I do this box on the right. And if you get an error, date has to start before the other date, just change which box you're starting on first. Sometimes if you start on the wrong box, you'll get an error. Don't panic, just restart on the other box and you'll be fine. Same date, 3/14/23. Then in this blank space here, we're going to right click and I'm going to wait for Go To appear. And I'm going to make sure the date says the date we want the replay, 3/14/2023. And now I want to actually start getting set up for the trade. It's an 8:30 trade, CPI, right? If you're in doubt when you're doing replay, have your DMM handy. So you could use it to enter your setup. Let me show you what I mean. So we know the date. It's 3/14, not today's trade, okay? But our setup is going to be the same. The time of the trade is 8:30. You're not going to put in 8:30 though. Give yourself 10 seconds before a breakout trade. So we're going to do 8:29 and 50 seconds. Give yourself 15 seconds before a trap trade replay. The reason you do that is the software, it gives the software a few seconds to get all your targets and everything calculated so the replay is accurate, okay? And if it's AM, you just leave it alone. If it's an afternoon trade, just put your cursor on AM and you could click the up arrow or the mouse, it'll go to PM. Then click OK. All right, it takes a second to calculate. And now you'll notice the replay date is March 14th, 8:29 a.m. Both boxes say replay. Now you can click the F, okay, because you should see, oh, I'm so glad this happened. Look at the way the chart looks. The chart looks kind of weird. Looks like the data didn't really load properly. But you could notice here that ask and the bid, the A and the B, have numbers. If they were both zeros, we would know for sure that the data didn't load, and that would be a problem, all right? But the data is there, but the chart doesn't look right because it didn't load 100%. So right-click the chart, reload all historical data. Bingo. Now we're ready for our replay. The data, for whatever reason, didn't quite load properly. You go to this blank space here, right? Forgive me, back up. We're going to set up our trade with the software. So our CPI trade is a breakout. Set it up just the way you traded this morning. Make believe you're now getting ready for this morning's trade. A breakout trade, JOBB 10. It's a breakout trade. The activation time is 8:29, right? 8:29:59. We have 6 in our bracket. We've got 2 targets of 7 and 25. Target 1, position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. Profit target is 1. Profit target 1 is 7. Profit target 2 is 25 ticks, and our stop is 20. That's all we need to do for the replay, all right? We need to just check the usual things that we check. Make sure your chart is the right chart. If you want to use the label, you can. Make it CPI. And make sure your account is on playback. If your account's not on playback, the replay won't work. Apply it and OK it. Get your DMM out of the way. And now you can enable your trade. And we're pretty much ready to go. Some people have a little bug that happens with Ninja just when you're getting ready to run the replay. When you press play, it will set the time back to 12 a.m. Don't panic. Just go back to the blank little space, right-click it, go to, and just reset your trade start time to 8:29:59. I'm working with Ninja on a solution to this problem. And as soon as I have it, I'll let everyone know. Okay it. And now you can always check that your ask and bid has data. If it's zeros, it means your replay data did not load properly. You'll have to re-download it. But you'll notice we now are ready for the trade. It's going to be exactly like what happened in March, right? But I did something wrong. I had my time set wrong. Right-click, go to. It should have been 8:29:50. I want 10 seconds before I start the replay so the software can calculate and just get ready. Then you press play, watch. You could see the price is moving. We're going to have our breakout. It's going to show up. Sometimes things can be slightly delayed in replay. Don't panic. Sometimes this will happen in a replay, and it's just because every now and then you'll get a replay where the market just moved way
Order
too
submitted.
fast for that day for a replay to work. I'm so glad that this happened. It's not that common, but occasionally it happens. One thing you can try to do, sometimes you can make your bracket bigger in the setup because it just might not have had enough time to get set. So you could not make your bracket bigger, make your time earlier by 3 or 4 seconds to see the replay. So I'm setting it to 8:29:56 just to see if that helps. But if it doesn't, sometimes you'll just get a replay that it just doesn't work. There's nothing you can do because maybe the market was so fast that day, it just doesn't work. So I set my time earlier. So set my replay 5 seconds earlier, 8:29:45. Let's see if it'll work, if we can get our bracket on the chart earlier. It might. Sometimes what happens is, it's not, because sometimes what happens is we're not getting calculations, okay? Sometimes. So let's see, it's good, it did work. So now you can see what happens. Boom. The trade was a whipsaw, if you notice. It hit the first target and failed at the second target.
Order
There
submitted.
you have it, folks. We have a
Order
replay
submitted.
of
Order
March
failed.
14th's trade. What I do, I record every time I do a replay, I record it. So I make sure that I have the replay saved, obviously, for obvious reasons. You want to record replays so you have your data to go back and study. Create a folder of all your replays. Just for fun, if you missed this morning's trade, you want to do another replay, we already have the setup, right? Let's change the date to today. Let's download the data. Disconnect the connection. Remember, you can't download replay data if you're connected. Go to Tools, Historical Data. Look how fast I'm going to be able to do this. It's like minutes. Download the data. Click Market Replay Data. Today's date is 4/12. I'm going to download bonds, CN623, download. When it's done, we'll know, it'll say, okay, there's a lot of bond data that it's downloading. Usually it never takes that long. It's unusual. Sometimes there's a lot of data. I'm surprised how long it's taking. This 15 seconds is long. Usually it downloads the data in 1 or 2 seconds. It doesn't matter. Market Replay is such a valuable tool that, if it took a minute to download the data, I would still do it. It's done. Close that screen. Okay. Go back to your chart. Connect yourself back to playback connection. Continue. We're connected. Enable your trade. And now we just need to change our dates. Today is 4/12, right? See, remember what I said? The start date cannot be greater. Just go to the other box and start there. It actually puts your cursor on that box. 4/12/23, because I always forget which one, and I don't want to think about it. And now I'm going to put my other box on 4/12. Both boxes are 4/12/23. The blank space, I'm going to click the right mouse button. When Go To appears, I'm going to click it. And I'm going to update the time that the replay is supposed to start, 8:29:45, okay, 8:29:45. I'm going to okay it. Our setup is already there. It's got a little bit of an early start, okay, but I'm going to leave it. I think it's going to be fine. I'm going to press play. Remember, we got that little goofy bug. Go back to Go To, put the time back in, 8:29:45 is our start time. Okay, and now we're ready to go. It calculates, press play. Our replay has started. All right. We're just waiting. Our orders are going to show up on the chart in a couple of seconds. If the bracket's too big, shrink it down. Here comes, boom. That's exactly what happened this morning. Okay. You can ignore the money, but
Order
what you're
submitted.
looking for is, did it have a good, solid, tradable
Order
move
filled.
that gives you confidence that this is an event you want to trade? That's exactly what happened. That, my friends, is the ins and outs of setting up a market replay trade. I think we've done more than we can handle for one day. We have an action step, right? And I know it's like asking a lot. What's our action step today? Let me double check because I forgot what the action step is. Our action step is to, give me 1 second, I have to find it, so forgive me. Let me find our action step. And let me grab my slides. Oh, the action step. Download the software and show us a picture of your software on the screen if you would be kind enough to do it. Show us that you've set up a trade by showing the icon. All right. In other words, turn on your NinjaTrader, and not everybody can do this. So if you don't have the software and you haven't downloaded the software, as an action step, how about you show yourself in market replay? Let's do that. Let's do that for everybody. Just show yourself in market replay. All right. Connected to playback. Take a picture. So how do you get to playback? If you've just booted up your system, you're going to be live. So disconnect your live, disconnect, connect to playback, continue, take a picture of your control center, okay? And I'm using the snipping tool to take my picture. I took my picture, I'm saving it, right? And then I'm going to post it to Facebook while everybody's watching. This is how long it takes me, a couple of seconds, a minute, okay? It's going to take me a minute to post this to Facebook. I'm doing it right in front of you. It's amazing how fast an old guy like me can do stuff, isn't it? You'd think I'd be dead already, but I'm not dead yet. So here we go. I've downloaded the picture. I know where the picture is. I'm going to post it into my Facebook. There's my Facebook. All right. Here's my post. And I'm going to just say replay, posted, put in the picture, photo or video. Bingo, everybody. Here's my picture. Let me get the file so it posts. I'm trying to do the picture, but all you need is the file. Bingo. All right. And there's my replay posted. Okay, that's our action item for today. Anybody have any questions? Let me know, yes or no. You learned something you didn't know in this class, that this was worthwhile for you. Give me a yes or no, just so I know that this was worthwhile for you. How about that? Would you? Let me know this was worthwhile. You're glad you're doing this. Give me some feedback. It's worthwhile. It's worthwhile. So I appreciate it. This was a long lesson, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I truly hope you're getting something out of this. We had some really nice trading today. We'll be back in the room tomorrow at 8 a.m. for core PPI. We have a great schedule coming up. Don't forget, when you're scrolling in Facebook, when you get to that most relevant, change it to new posts and you'll see the posts, okay? You'll see the posts much, much more easily. There's a lot to learn, Norman. Don't expect to know it in one day. Absolutely plan on rewatching the videos. That's the whole idea. Um, but the info is there and you could take it in at your own speed. Okay? It's a great way to trade. Today was one of those great days that just showed how much fun it is to trade market events the way we do it. I love it. I love trading this way. Okay, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see everybody tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. in the trade room. Okay? Have a great evening, folks, and I'll see you all tomorrow.